I hate bacteria, so not saying it's on there, but
Hey, you never know, especially in this day and age right now, right?
Yep.
Right? All right.
Oh, there you go.
Happy day to you, Hard Talks fam. It's your trippy hippie Alicia jumping on the mic from good old Utah. I'm here tonight with some special guests. I'm really excited. You guys probably know him. Angel.
Justin.
I knew that. And Justin from the other side of the Beehive. I've had most interaction with Angel, though.
Yeah.
So when you messaged me yesterday.
oh, who's this motherfucker?
Justin. Well, I knew. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, definitely bring your wife in. Had many people sit on the side before, so I'm happy to have you guys here.
Dude, everybody's got nicknames now. How was yours?
The trippy hippie Alicia.
I gotta come up with that.
Maybe
one.
that's what I need as a nickname.
Yeah.
Then people will remember
That's
my name.
right.
Well, and it's an easy name to remember, right? I'll remember it forever
It's the
now.
whitest name you could ever come up with, right?
I know like 5 Justins. I think that was like the most popular name in 1995 when I was born.
Really?
Wait.
In 81, when I was born, it was one of the, like, I know a million Justins.
Yeah.
In fact, I know a Justin Simmons.
Really?
Yeah, same name, yeah.
One of her.
He lives
one,
in Wyoming.
One of your daughters.
He's a total asshole. But
one of your daughters' name is Justin too.
Really?
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, you
it's
just
like a junior thing, right?
you just had. I don't know if we can say this. You just had Mariah, right?
Mariah's going to be on tonight.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
her husband's Justin.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mariah is from Salty Sex Cast, and she's hilarious. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for her to be on. But you guys, you're based out of Salt Lake City, right? The
Yeah.
other side of Beehive. And I really like the premise of your guys' show. You know, you're talking about or debunking some of the conservatism of the state, if you
Yeah.
will, right?
yeah.
So what is one of the biggest things that you like to talk about?
You name it. I mean,
We don't ever have a premises that we stick to. It's whatever comes off the top of our head, whatever's hot in local news. We don't have like, we get that question all the time. What's your podcast about?
Yeah.
And I get stuck because I'm like, it's not about anything.
I think
Right.
the shorter list will be what you guys don't talk about, which is politics.
Right.
We don't ever go around that.
Someone asked me that because that's our. Oh, before I forget, you guys, because you know I'm a shit show. This is an 18 and up podcast. We talk all things controversial, difficult, taboo, sometimes wildly inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
I curse like a sailor. I don't want to be responsible for your 4-year-old saying fuck or goddamn. So, you know,
And that's why we're
slide in
here.
on your slide in on your own time. But
She's never said that before. And she's like, these guys, I better put a warning out there.
I'm gonna try to keep up.
no, that's in every episode. Don't worry.
No, we don't.
I've even had some people email in and be like, so you talk everything taboo, like, where's the politics portion? And it's something that I considered touching on in the beginning, and then I was like, not in this state.
Yeah, you don't
I mean,
want-
Yeah.
when we first started, I have a friend who's very knowledgeable when it comes to
Yeah.
all of that. But I mean, you know, what does that mean really today? I don't know. But she was like, let's talk about this. Like, let's talk about the inauguration. Let's talk about all the bullshit happening. And I was like, oh, that's going to kill the show before it
Like,
even
yeah.
starts, you know? So it's hard. Like, yeah, we do talk about taboo things, but within reason.
Yeah.
And we've always said, and the reason we stay away from it is because right out of the get-go, as soon as you tap into politics, you split the room right down the middle, right? So half of your audience is all, nope,
Yeah.
you know, and it's hard to get that back. So
Right.
Yeah, we tried to from the beginning. We were like, no politics, and we're like, it's fine, you know. And we're still respectful of, you know, who you cheer for. It's just like not something that we just get on, you know, into
Right.
it. We're just like, it's just whatever, man.
It turns ugly too quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes they always say, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, right? And religion for us is basically because we're attached to LDS because of where we live,
Right.
and that's why the creation of the other side of the Beehive. But when it comes to politics, we were like, nah, we don't need that. So
Yeah. There's so much.
It's worked out. Yeah,
so much more for that somewhere else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So how did you guys meet? How did this come together? The other side of the Beehive.
Well, we dated for a minute.
Yeah,
And,
I heard that.
Yeah.
I think Dre's the one that told me that.
Yeah. Oh, Dre's talking shit about it.
Jay's like, it was most sexual. I don't know if they really dated. More of a hookup kind of thing.
No feeling whatsoever.
Just fucking. That's what we can call it.
We worked together in a construction company. We call it Company One because we don't say names.
Right.
And that's where we met. And he was in traffic, and I was doing pipe work, and then all of a sudden, I became like some sort of a boss, and he was the coordinator. And then all of a sudden, he left before I did, and then we kept the friendship, and then we ended up watching the fights at his house all the time. And when I left that company and I went to the next one, somebody said to me, "Have you ever heard of podcasts?" And I was following this guy on Instagram that knew how to YouTube and knew how to podcast, but I never even looked into it. Mm-hmm. And that person asked me, and I'm like, "Oh, I never heard one." And then the first one they sent me was Joe Rogan and Elon Musk.
Classic.
Like the first one they did. It's like, you got to listen to this. I'm like, okay. So I listened to it. And then all of a sudden it's like, I started going to 2 episodes, 3 episodes, 4 episodes and hanging out with him at his house. And I was like, dude, would you like to do a podcast?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, that's my shit. So that's when we started at his house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys have been doing it for a long time now. You just dropped episode 196, right?
No, 137.
Yes.
We just recorded 137. We just recorded yesterday.
I'm just building you guys up. I'm
Yes.
going to get there.
We
really
should have
soon.
said, yeah. Actually, it's 200 now, yeah. No, 137, and it's maybe too much, maybe not too much, but it's continuous weeks. We haven't stopped 1 week.
Right.
There's never been a missed week with the podcast. And there's been times I haven't been there.
Mm-hmm.
And Angel's always filled in. But the other side of the Beehive has always put out a podcast every Monday for 137 weeks straight.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That
crazy.
is incredible. I don't think many of our listeners quite understand like how much work goes into production and publishing this kind of stuff. But that's the biggest thing is about consistency. You know what I mean? And that's something I've had to really stay on top on. I feel like I have a bad habit of biting off more than I can chew. I have a lot of big goals, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And then I get mad at myself when I miss my own deadlines. And it's like, okay, just take smaller bites.
Yeah.
Is it me, or once you hit like, maybe it was the 100 mark, but once we hit that, it was just like second nature. Just to be there every, like, Friday we record, and you get into this rhythm, and it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And it's just part of the schedule. My kids and my wife know Friday, 6 o'clock, I'm taking off and going to the studio. There's no questions.
Yeah.
My, I have a 6-year-old, and she's like, Dad's podcasting.
Yeah.
Doesn't even ask. She's all, see you, bitch.
Right now at work, I have this thing when, like, a lot of people know now. I was like, all right, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm like, well, let's hurry the fuck up because, hey, what do we do on Fridays? And people are like, on Fridays we pod. And I'm like, that's right. And so they just know, past 5:30, Angel's got to go.
So you just keep on it and keep on it and keep on it. And it just becomes second nature at that point.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Just like picking your nose, right?
That's right. Which I was doing in my truck. But anyway.
I think all of us are guilty of that, especially the guy that was giving me the side eye on my way home.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, sorry, man, just let me flick that out the window. No judgment. We all do it. All human.
How about those ones that you can't flick? You're like,
I told you.
over and over and over. But you can't rub it on your pants.
You can't. No, do you
wear white jeans,
no,
you
but
just
listen,
can't rub it on your pants.
You rub it? Okay, well, then flip your shirt inside out and just rub it until it picks up all the lint, and then you just go.
Or, like, if you have a really bad runny nose, you just take the inside of your sleeve. If you don't have a Kleenex, you're on the road.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but you guys have one on us, because you guys have tampons. You know what I mean?
You're not going to stick a tampon up your nose.
Yeah, but you can, though.
They expand. Literally, you stick it up your nose, and it gets runny, and it'd be like your whole nostril.
No, I can do it.
I'm telling you the trick. You put it on the bottom of your shoe and just mosey on the way through your day. Just put it on the bottom of your shoe. Somebody else will figure it out at that point.
At least it's not one of the rollers, you pay.
Oh, yeah. See?
Anyway,
this is
Great.
off topic.
I'm like the queen of tangents. I have
Oh, yeah.
ADHD, and it's like being alone. Going back to like what you were saying about a routine, like first 30 episodes, I was like, okay, this is finally like getting to be like Sarah would come down and we would just bang it out. And now that she's been gone, I'm like, man, it's hard to talk to myself for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm not that interesting. Like, what am I? So I've been lucky enough to like be in contact with some of our listeners or people who have been listening or emailing into the show and like giving me topic suggestions, and that's been helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to get back into that kind of routine again because I'm just scrambling a little bit. I'm always flying by the edge of my seat, but I'm like, when you guys reached back out, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Yeah.
No worries. I know you're busy. I know you also.
Well, he left. He was when we talked. He left. He went out of town, and then when he came back, we already had like a couple guests lined up, and then in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, we got to reach back, so we can tell him, hey, it's not that we don't want to do it. It's just just give us a little bit of time.
Yeah, no.
And then Dre, when I did Dre's pod, he was like, oh yeah, Alicia, and I was like, ah, shit, and I was like, and I said, I don't know if you listen to his podcast. We don't, but he was like, oh, and I was like, oh, I feel so sorry. I was like, I got to reach back, and that's when I started going like, hey. Apologize, but
yeah,
it worked out.
No, it worked out.
And like I was literally, I kid you not, I was literally like 7 minutes away, and I got done around 11.
Where do you go for your dreads? They look great.
Well, I was going to this place called the Salt Lake Dread Shop. It's a couple, and then the girl that was doing mine, her name was Missy, and Missy just quit the shop, and she just started doing it at her house here somewhere, 7 minutes away from here.
Drive all the way to Ogden from now on.
It's like every 5 weeks.
Yeah, but look at it. Isn't it worth it?
It's like every 5 weeks, though.
Dreads are hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a thing, because I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 6 years now. And one of the biggest things I've learned is like men are your best clientele, right?
Really?
Yes. Especially I was working at a barbershop near the Air Force Base. A lot of business.
Yeah.
In the barbershop up on base. And I had a lot of gentlemen come in who get a clean shave every single week. And those are your good tippers.
Oh, okay.
Because say you just do hair or color strictly. You do all of your clients in like 1 week. Then you have like 6 to 8 weeks where you don't have anyone coming in. And it's just kind of like you got to fill your time and supplement your income sometimes. And so it's either really good days where you make $800 or like nothing at all.
I got a haircut today too as well. And at the end of it, I tipped. And I thought, what's a proper tip?
Probably like 15-20%.
I always, the people that I go, here's my thing.
But what does a haircut cost?
So everyone is different. Since I do it privately out of the convenience of my home, or I travel to people, convenience of their home, my haircuts for men are like $25-$30. If I'm in a salon, sometimes it's a little more because a wash is included and etc. Obviously, women, based off of their length and their service, that's all different. But if I'm doing like an all-over bleach on a woman, I could easily charge $200.
See, like I go to my people, and like the guy that cuts my hair, he usually, obviously he's just cutting the bottom of it and like line up the beard. So it's $40.
There's not much more.
There's not much more. So it's $40 and I give him $50.
Yeah.
Now the girl that does my dreads,
Mine was a $17 haircut, and I gave her $10.
Yeah.
But I thought,
go.
I'm like, what's the appropriate tip?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they go, oh, thank you very much for that. And sometimes you want a receipt. I'm like, was that not enough? It's like, you didn't see me put my hand in the tip jar, right? Remember that Seinfeld episode where he pulled it back out to put it back in?
Well, and something interesting too is like men are picky about their appearance, but they're more forgiving. So
yes,
say you fuck up a woman's hair.
You never say anything.
No.
A dude wouldn't say anything. They're just like, and then when they leave, that fucking bitch.
Yeah.
They just won't go back.
Well, and there's something that they teach you as like a marketing skill when you're going through a cosmetology school, right? They're like, yeah, social media is great. You could promote yourself on all these new platforms, but word of mouth is everything forever. They're like, think about it. if you give someone a phenomenal haircut and they're in love with it, they're going to get compliments. And every time they do, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, like this person did it. Thank you. But odds are they're probably only going to talk to like 5 people or tell them your name. True. If someone has a shitty haircut, if someone gives them a compliment,
don't go with this bitch.
They're going to be like, oh my God, that bitch was fucking awful. She doesn't know what she's doing. And about 10 and 15 people probably hear that or more. You know what I mean?
I thought Mama was cutting your hair.
She was for a while, but since I did the other haircut.
She retired? Oh,
since I've changed the do, it's been a little bit of a... and I stress her out really bad when she cuts my hair, and so I know she hates to do it. So
are you anal about the haircuts? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: the wife used to do my dreads because I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so she would start doing like 1 or 2, and then by the 15, I was like, we would just hate each other. I would be like, oh, you're fucking pulling my hair. And she's like, you need to fucking stop moving. So it was just crazy. Yeah. So I can see that.
Yeah. If the wife needs a sorry, no matter what she says, you always say sorry. Doesn't matter what she says, you say sorry. Even if she's ripping your hair out of your head and acting a little crazy. So, you guys, I really love that you have different people on the podcast every now and again. Mm-hmm. Do a lot of these people reach out to you, or do you have certain people in mind that you ask to come on the podcast?
Depends. Yeah. We've had a little bit of both. I would think the majority of the big guests that we've had, we've reached out to them, and they, were gracious enough to come on the podcast. But we've had a lot of people reach out, say, hey, I'd love to be on your podcast. Yeah. And it sucks because you got to be a little picky.
I've learned that.
Because when we started this, I was like, we'll have everybody. Yeah. We'll never say no to anybody. And I find ourselves more and more saying, not that we don't want them there. We just want good content.
Right.
And you want a good mix of people, because anybody can sit here and you can just say, yada, yada, interview somebody. It's like, yeah.
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 And I mean, I obviously won't say who, because I love everybody, but I've had some people on where I'm just trying to
just get through it.
Yeah, because they're a wet fucking blanket. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, you have no personality. Why did you want to be on here? Like, it's bad. Like, I have always had the ability to go up and talk to a stranger and have a personable conversation. I did really well doing hair because I could talk to a fucking brick wall if I needed to.
Yeah.
I did earlier this morning. It's my best friend. But they don't think I'm crazy. but I always say, like, to people, if I struggle to maintain a personable conversation with someone, I know it's probably not my fault.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I've had some people on where it's like, it takes so much energy and effort to keep the conversation flowing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's why it's awesome to podcast with another podcaster.
Right.
Because that shit's like this. You know what I mean? Like, everybody can feel when everybody's like, like dying off, and they're like, yo, by the way, and it's like, it's continuously like I hate saying his name, but having Dre in our podcast is like, it's just a back and forth. Like, it would never stop.
Yeah.
And same thing when I get to do, and the reason why I get to do his podcast is we do Dre Espanol, and then he's like, hey, you have a minute? We'll just pod. And I'm like, all right. But it's the same thing. Like, we just had fun, and then we're gonna sit down, and the fun is just continuous. It's like we're just back and forth.
Yeah.
But you get those guests every now and then. It's like, so what's up? And then you ask them a question, and they're like a yes or no kind of answer.
Yeah,
and
it's literally a one-word response.
Like, hey, can you elaborate a little?
It's like, wow, people are really gonna think you're interesting.
Yeah. and that's why, like you said, that's why we have so many people want to come down, and we're just like. Like, do we risk it? Do we go for it? And then there's also the other side when we are dying to have this person like, fuck it, like, what the fuck are you guys? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. So.
But no shame to people that we don't have on, because we don't want them to look bad as well.
Right.
Yeah. It's a shared deal, and so when somebody comes on our podcast, we want not only us to have good content, but we want them to be in the spotlight and be, people to be interested in what they have going on as well. So,
right. So my little baby podcast isn't even a year old, but another big thing I've learned is time is money, right? Mm-hmm. Or time is valuable, right? So I've had several people reach out and be like, I want to be on the show. And then they don't show up.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the past several weeks, I've kind of regrouped because I was getting frustrated and a little, my wheels were spinning. And I was like, no, this is my baby. It's meant to be fun. It's a healing therapeutic thing for me to come down and chat with, you know, my fam members and whoever else is with me. But I also was like, don't worry about anyone else. Like, the content is probably going to be even better if you sit down and regroup and just do a few episodes yourself. I even was thinking about I know we just talked about this where consistency is key. But I was thinking about taking like a week off, and because I've been rebranding our logo and I've remixed our theme song a little bit, and it's a week before my co-host comes back, and I was like, well, maybe I'll take a week off and drop like a season 2.
Yeah.
Like a completely like not rebooted, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A better, more epic version of Hard Talks.
2.0.
2.0,
Yeah.
exactly. And I don't know, I'm still kind of on the
Rename
fence.
it Flaccid Talks.
Yeah, bigger, faster, stronger, veinier.
Hey, I'm going to dub that into the remix of the theme song. You're going to be in the background while the music is playing. It is going to girthier.
Yeah, that's the one I missed. Yeah,
God
it's
damn it.
right
Hey,
there.
our job here is done. Thank you so much. Follow us.
Oh, no. But I mean, I've been really lucky to gain such an awesome friendship with Dre, and he's connected me with so many people like you and Mariah and the 801 Lake Talk. Those guys are dope.
Those kids.
Have you had him?
Nope, but we've been in contact a little bit. They actually messaged me today and asked if I would want a guest that they just had on a couple weeks ago to talk about a cannabis seminar.
Yeah.
I imagine like a giant, like Comic-Con size, like weed event, and I'm
And the guy
for
looks
it.
like this.
Yeah, I'm like, yo. Like I can barely open my
He
eyes.
asks him questions. He goes, yeah.
I got a Bob Marley poster in the back.
Exactly. Hey, I actually do have a weed poster in the background. Or in the bathroom, if you need to use the bathroom at any point, you can
Nice.
brief yourself on all the facts.
No, we so you never met him?
Nope, never met him yet.
You're probably taller than them, right?
Yeah, so I said those
more
kids.
likely,
and we like those guys.
Yeah,
we like
love
those
them. We
guys.
love them.
We break their balls.
Yeah.
They're good group guys.
But that's what the Beehive is about, right? We
Yeah,
break
right.
everybody's balls.
Well, and I think that's one of the funnier things about your show is like you guys have a lot of love for each other and whoever's on the show, but it's funny because you bullshit with each other and it's relatable.
You know, our friend list has changed over, you know, from when we started to now. Like, we have such a big group of friends. You know, how long ago was it when we met up? About a month ago.
About a month ago.
We all met up at a bar, and we had the Young OGs, we had Becca Hayes, we had Dre, we had the Beans and Rice, we had the Lake Talk,
Salties.
kids, we had Salty, and I sat back and looked at Angel and says, "Can you believe what's going on right now? That can it not to say that if we hadn't started a podcast, this wouldn't have happened, but." To get everybody talking and build and you've probably heard us say it on the pod community that we've built is just an incredible thing that we take a lot of pride in, you know, and we enjoy everybody we pod with, and there's just always something to do. When there's nobody to bring in, there's always that phone, pick it up and say, hey, would you be interested? And everybody's just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great thing. So.
Well, the next one will be on the 25th. Maybe you can make it down Salt Lake.
Maybe I can.
Oh, yeah.
Was that you said Fridays?
Saturday.
Fights are Saturdays.
Saturdays.
And it takes the
Let
fights.
me pencil it in on my hectic calendar over there. And I was telling my friend, because he's like, you have so many big ideas. Like, have you put them on paper? I'm like, no. And he's like, you're doing all this in-house. You need to put it on paper. And so I did. And it felt really good writing it all out. And then I take a step back. I'm like, that's overwhelming as fuck. Like, how do we accomplish all of it? But then I make myself feel better because by the end of the month, I'm like, wow, what was so overwhelming at the beginning is now accomplished, and I'm awesome. So
I think that's a thing, right? To put it on a what do you call it? A future board, or
Junior
a Ouija
has,
board, or
Junior
what do you call
has
it?
a board.
A Ouija board.
27th hour Junior
Vision board.
and that guy. I mean, you want to talk about driven, right?
oh my
Junior.
God, he wears so many hats. It's
So
crazy.
He showed me his board, and he was just like, to get everything on there, just like you said, overwhelming. But the feeling of crossing something off or erasing it and just chopping away at it. He says the problem is I erase something and I put something back on there, so the list never changes.
See, like, let me show you my board. And so,
Yeah.
like a fucking theater screen comes up.
Smoke and shit comes up. It's got a choir in the background. Flames.
Neon lights and shit. You're like,
He all draws it with a laser and shit.
it's pointing at it like this.
Hey, knowing Junior, that could probably happen.
That's another question. But you're right. It's an overwhelming feeling to see it all. But again, that little bit of done, is an accomplishment. Because if you have it in your mind, is it ever to rest, right?
Right.
But if you write it down and then you see it, you get it done, then you put it away, right?
Definitely. Well, and then just like you said with Junior, like then my list just gets longer for the next month. It's like we can't even look at that. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But I think too to that, like the best part of podcasting is, and I say it all the time on the show, is gaining that connection with whoever you meet, whoever reaches out to you. I think that's one of the most astounding things. Is I had a veteran on several episodes ago. Great woman, Mikhail. Shout out to you.
I've actually worked with Mikhail before.
Mikhail Eastbrook?
That was like the first.
Or Nicola now.
Yeah, that was the first episode that I heard from you guys.
She's amazing.
I used to have a screen printing business with one of my friends, and she was a model for it.
Yeah.
That's how I met her.
Yeah, she talked about that a little bit, but she's had a crazy life, and she and her husband are going to come on again in the future because he has an amazing like jewelry company now.
Yeah, it's like crystals and stuff, right? Yeah.
And then like they're all self-sufficient. Like I believe she's vegetarian, not vegan anymore, but like she's self-sustainable, like grows everything that her and her family eats, and then goes above and beyond and donates some of her food. But I bring her up because she shared her story about being sexually assaulted during her tour in Afghanistan. And I had someone reach out to the show and email in afterwards, and they emailed in anonymously, and they were just like, I wanted to thank you. I found your show like randomly as a Utah local podcast. And she's like, I was sexually assaulted when I was serving in the Army 10 years ago, and I've never told a single soul.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, I listened to her perspective, and it changed my thought process on the whole thing. She's like, I went to the liquor store as soon as I got off work, bought a bottle of wine, and I went home and told my wife for the first time. And she was just thanking Mikhail and kind of thanking us for this platform. And that was the first moment in all of this production where I've been like, holy shit, like what I'm saying actually matters. It has an effect on someone. I mean, whether or not this ever really goes anywhere doesn't matter as much as, like you said, the quality. If it's helping someone or someone can resonate with it, like that's what matters to me. And so that was really, really cool.
Absolutely.
I know. And I was lucky enough to meet, sorry, I'm kind of backtracking. My ADHD here.
She's like, hi, I'm Alicia. I'm like,
That's literally me. Hi, I'm Alicia. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Alicia. Nice to meet you. I know. You should see when I cut and edit. I usually try not to edit these episodes anymore, but sometimes, like the ones where I've been alone, there's big gaps in between everything because I literally have to stop and be like, what was I talking about? And literally like go back and cut it out because my brain will think something, like a whole thought process.
You don't do video. You should just write it down.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do have prompters, but sometimes that's overwhelming too. Like if I'm dropping a lot of statistics, I literally have to like, it sounds different. You know what I mean? It sounds scripted. You're not as into it. But yeah, just remarkable things coming from this. And there I go again. Oh, that's what I meant. So like I could have a whole train of thought like pass through my brain, but by the time I try to verbalize it, the thought's already passed. So I'm like, literally that that idiot that forgets what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I probably look like a major
happens to me
stoner
too
to
a
everybody. Okay,
Sometimes I go, oh, dude. And then I was like in the middle of a story and I go, I don't know why I'm saying this.
Yeah, never
like, I have
mind.
no idea.
And from the words
obviously, that's my partner here. Well, that was a waste of time.
Well, and from the words of the great Joe Rogan, if I forgot, it probably didn't fucking matter, and it was probably going to be boring anyway.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I didn't recognize Justin from your show. I hadn't
Obviously,
started.
you didn't know my name.
No,
Yeah.
I hadn't started listening to the other side of the Beehive until later. But I think it was the live recording that 27th Hour podcast did where you were on it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why does this guy's voice sound so familiar?
Sexual.
Yeah, at that point, I was like, what? I feel like I've seen this guy before. And it's funny that you said that when you walked in today. You're like, we met. And I was like, yes, we did. We sure did.
It was in passing. So I did. We did. What was the game?
You match, you win.
You match, you win, and then I did talks about the fights with Dre.
Mm-hmm.
And on our way out, they were coming in to do an episode. So it was in. It
a lot
was
of
in.
semen in my throat.
It was in total passing.
Damn it,
Okay,
Justin.
I see. He does too.
I need to drink more water, obviously.
Drink up.
So, but yeah,
That's what it
that
was.
is where
Okay.
we met the first time. But it was seriously on the way out the door. So.
Okay, that doesn't. I don't feel like such an asshole anymore. But I'm literally. Well, he's like. Well,
He's like, well, he forgot my name.
oh man, but I mean, that's how I met Dre, through Junior Hammond. I've been really good friends with Junior's daughter for years, and
okay.
Dre was there setting up for recording, and I think we'd maybe done like 5 episodes of this, and Junior's like, hey, come on the show, like come record with us. And me, like the first like collaboration, I'm like geeking out about it, driving over there. I'm like, I remember even talking to my mom. She's like, oh, you have a tattoo appointment? I was like, no, I'm going to record a podcast with Junior. And I walk in, and Dre's the first person who was standing there. And he's like, oh, well, I'm Dre
Yeah.
Rocca. And
Did he give you all of his 50 names?
nope,
Dre
just
the
Dre
number one
Rocca.
Chief Rocka, I'm Bad Hair Day.
Bad hair day.
And then Junior's in the background. He's like, yeah, from U92. So the first like month that I knew him, it was not Dre. It was Dre Rocca from U92,
Yeah.
like as a whole title. And, I was just asking him questions about his equipment, what it took for him to transport it, set it up, like what kind of software he was using to edit. And, we've had a friendship kind of blossom ever since. And I've officially dubbed him the Hard Talks Candid, how did I phrase that?
Candid Cockold.
Yep, just like that. He's the godfather of our candid convos, because he's not afraid to say what's on his mind, especially with like my personal
This is Dre?
life. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had him on an episode a while ago, and he wasn't in approval of my life choices or who I was seeing recently. And on air, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
hey, I'm sorry, Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you? I'm a
But it's
grown ass woman, dude.
Excuse
It's
me,
so funny
man that
because-
has 1,000 aliases. Make up his mind on who he wants to be. Did you say Fraggle Rock?
why does he have so many aliases? Have we
It's
ever
like,
thought about that?
You're mad about my boyfriend's personality? You have 13 of them.
Can we just pick one?
Now, what kind of is odd about the whole Dre and Junior affiliation is we started this podcast, and I hadn't talked to Junior since high school.
Yeah.
And I looked up a tattoo artist, and I was like, oh shit. In fact, Brian Hellbach, IGY622 podcast, told me, see, we all went to school together.
That
Me
is a
and
great
Brian.
podcast. I work with one of the gentlemen who was on his show. Yes, yes. And do you know Shane Salmon? I think he's probably like on one of the very first episodes. But
So Dan Garner is one of my best friends, and he was
He's an ambassador.
He was the first responder that was on the show.
Yeah.
And I think he's part of the board now on the what do you call it? The
ambassador board or like
the nonprofit. He's part of it.
They've done such incredible things.
No, Brian has. He just all of a sudden we light up a little fire and he just shot out to the sky. Yeah.
So I've known Brian and we played high school hockey together, and we've always stayed in touch. Mm-hmm. And so he told me, he's like, well, you should go see Junior about getting a tattoo. And so I went and got an appointment, sat down with him, and just chatting back and forth. You know, it had been 20 or so years since we had spoke. And I was like, yeah, we have a podcast. And he was like, oh, podcast. Oh, I'd love to come on your podcast. And so we brought Junior on, and the second he sat down, it was just like it lit a fire right there. So I had gone down, recorded an episode with him. He had kind of another producer that was working a few things with him, and some stuff didn't work out, and we sat down and tried to figure out how to do it just on his iPad. I mean, he was like total just as bare as you could get. Mm-hmm. And then he just basically says, I can't do this. I need somebody that can take hold and do all this. Well, we met Dre along the way, never met him before, basically reached out to us and said, hey, love what you guys are doing. Do you mind a few pointers? And, you know, at that point we were absolutely, befriended us, gave us equipment. We didn't even know this guy. Just gave us a microphone, a camera, and says, you guys need to be on video. You need to keep doing this. And so when Junior asked if I knew anybody that could help him, I says, well, you should have Dre come. And it's just been a match made in heaven since then. So,
isn't it crazy? Yeah. Like, it's literally like a snowball effect. And if you're not local to Utah, let me tell you, it's a small world, but it's an even smaller world in the state of Utah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Because I was under the impression that Dre knew him for a long time, or he was like a client of his. I don't know why I thought
no, they're fucking raking in the cash now, and I got to get my beak wet on that shit. What the hell?
The Beehive seen nothing from that.
See, our views, woo. It's like everybody went over here.
And Dre gets on the radio, owns Broadway Media. All of a sudden, he has all this. I was like, we're still like, how are we gonna make it?
I'm all, spare change. Trying to get what I can get, but I'm glad they're doing well.
They're like, hey, rent's due.
Fuck.
I just imagine Justin Oliver Twist. That's what I just saw in my mind. You have any change,
yeah,
sir?
Exactly.
Please.
But to have Junior on and him say, I'm going to do this, and then he came back on again. And then from that point, he was good at it. Mm-hmm. He was good at having conversation, and he was driven, and we knew he was going to be great. Same thing with Brian. Mm-hmm. Brian came on our podcast, and he was on a couple of times, and it was like the second time he came on, we had drank a little bit of whiskey.
Love it.
And he opened up, and it's probably one of the best episodes I think that we've ever recorded. And he talked about, being overseas and some of the things that he had dealt with. And then just like that, the IGY 622 is born.
Yeah.
So we don't pride ourselves in saying that we helped them start it, but the fact that they came on and got inspired means a lot to us.
Yeah. I mean, that's a profound thing. I mean, literally to see the spark ignite, wheels start turning right in front of you, and then just to watch it blow up the way it does.
They're literally the Beehive kids, dude. And we got 3. We got one bastard child up in the unit basement.
Yeah, we do. You in the basement. We have a buddy that came on, a guy that is such crazy story. The way this goes away. Listen to the podcast. Lives way the hell out there. I mean, it has no affiliation to any of us.
Close to Roosevelt.
Other than he listened to the radio. A radio personnel was on our podcast and pushed it out there when she came on. He gave us a listen, and he went back to the archive. He started single episode 1.
That's amazing.
We were like in the 70s, and he's like, I'm in episode 13. We're like, Jesus, dude. You don't have to.
That's rad, though.
Mm-hmm. He got inspired, was in town, came on our podcast. We had him as a guest. Another great episode we had. And then just said, I'm going to start a podcast. And he does it by himself.
Yeah.
And just does something that's completely different from anything else that's out there. And so just another beautiful story of somebody that just got inspired and created.
What is that podcast called?
The You Went to Basement
Okay.
podcast.
I've seen that. I've seen that
Yeah.
on Instagram
Quinn.
a couple times.
Yeah, shout out
He
to Quinn.
follows me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Okay. Sweet. I'm gonna
See how this works?
Yeah.
See how this works?
Podmunity right
Yeah.
here.
It's amazing. And if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna start using that hashtag.
No,
in all
yeah,
of our
absolutely.
stuff.
That's the idea.
I mean, well, we'll let
Well,
you know.
well,
We have an
well,
application process.
but
you
also
need
a
to
lot
fill
of
out.
people say they're going to, and they do it for like a couple days.
Guess
so,
I have to get Justin's name right from here on out, right?
My wife forgets sometimes too, so it's okay.
hey, I literally like 1995, Justin, Dylan's, Logan's, and John's.
Yeah, fuck
John
those
will never
guys.
die.
Yeah.
John is like the most popular name
Yeah.
ever, but I'll never forget now. I will never forget.
no one forgets an angel though.
No, how could
It's
we?
only me and Chris Angel, so it's like
Well, everyone did forget Chris Angel, so where the fuck is he?
yeah. I don't know. Oh, he came out in another show. Oh, I saw him in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, really?
He's all married and shit.
He still got that Karen haircut?
No, he actually looks good. He's dressed up nice. Still has the lisp. I mean, it's all right.
A
He
list.
does have a list.
Is he
yeah.
still doing magic?
He was there to eat, and they fucked up his order. But I think he still has a residency in Vegas, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. With the Luxor or something like that.
So mind freak,
The mind
like-
freak.
mind freak.
No, I remember being young and watching
Fuck him,
that.
fuck at that.
My name's Chris Angel.
I'm into magic.
Chris Angel.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah.
You know, I always thought he'd be good to see, but then again, he did fall off the face of the earth. So
Is he good looking for you gals?
when I was 14 and watching Mind Freak, maybe. I think it was all the tattoos.
I mean, he had like the Italian look, you know, the abs,
He's a little,
No.
just
magic.
he's
you
a
know
little
what
guy.
I don't
probably has
remember
a-
any abs on that person ever.
Probably has a tiny dick.
Probably. It's probably
Really?
really skinny and curved to the right.
Although he was banging one of. You just hit yourself in the
No,
tooth.
I spilt my drink down my face.
He was banging one of girlfriends of Hugh Hefner, Holly.
Oh, one of the three.
Yeah.
Holly, it doesn't matter,
Yeah,
but
whatever.
I know,
Holly, yeah.
I know exactly.
The hot
Holly,
one of
Holly
the
Holmes,
three.
yeah.
The hottest one.
Yeah, the
Holly Holmes.
Even
blonde, y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though they all almost look identical.
Yeah. No.
Well,
Sorry, anyway.
so I was listening to your most recent episode that you dropped, right?
Uh-oh.
And I really,
Here we go.
I really appreciated the opening segment where you're talking about the man titties.
Oh yeah.
He had
Have you looked
That's
up?
so
Have you
new.
looked him up?
perfect breasts, just like your wife's.
I got my ass ripped last night. So here,
And not in a good
here-
way?
Here we go. So the wife's a little behind on episodes, and so as I open my text message, I get, "You're so lucky." ... Just started the last pod, and I says, "What?" She's all, "The tits comment."
With the perfect nipples.
So a couple laughs, ha ha ha. She's all, "For a minute, you were almost sleeping on the couch or the streets." So, but if you looked him up,
Needless to say, I'm watching a lot of those that guy's fights, and I'm hard the whole time.
I did watch that boxing match. So I've been seeing someone. I've been also watching a lot of fights with the guy recently.
it's just something about that guy. I don't know what it is. I think what he has is just very long nipples, and that's what throws it off.
That's what.
Huge
Like
fuckers,
mine, like stick out.
like
I
glass
hate that.
cutters.
Yeah.
Are they
yeah.
like a dog or a cat's
And the-
nipples after they have?
Yeah,
And then we saw
just like that, like a stray dog.
We look at a photo on the show, and you know how pecs are like square. His are like
Triangles.
Yeah,
These
like
are
they good old gummy drops.
Do you think that maybe he had his implants removed?
You want to? Here's my opinion. This is my thought, and this has no affiliation to the Hard Talk podcast or the other side of the Beehive.
Not at all.
Have you guys ever heard of gyno?
Colleges.
No.
I have one, so
It's gyno. It's when men grow breasts. I can't remember the full name. It's like gyno.
but it's an actual condition.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's caused from people who do steroids. So people who will do steroids and then they don't get off of it correctly will grow breasts.
What is the correct way to get off of steroids?
So you take steroids and then you take estrogen blockers when you're getting off of it, because when your body's not producing testosterone and you wean yourself off of it, your body will produce estrogen. So if you take estrogen blockers, then it won't, like I'm a pro at this. Maybe I
you're a
dabble.
physician.
Gynecomastia?
Yes.
Gynecomastia.
Gynecomastia.
Or
It sounds correct. Sure.
gynomastia is what it is. So, but if you take estrogen blockers when you're off the testosterone, because you can't stay on steroids forever, you've
Right.
got to take it in waves, right? And so bodybuilders will do what they call a cycle. And then they'll do that, and then they will go on estrogen blockers. And if you don't take estrogen blockers, you will grow breasts. Not saying that's what he did.
Like perky breasts or like
Breasts.
Okay.
Now, if you would have looked up pictures, when you look that up, I guarantee you would find a guy who has grown breasts.
do it, Angel. Find something for us.
Oh, dude. See?
right there.
No,
Look at
fuck
those.
you, man. I don't want to look at that shit. No, I don't want to take my shirt off ever again. No, but it's a thing, I guess.
Gynomastia. That's
Yeah,
what
there
it
you go.
is.
Mastia. So riddle me this. We're not that we had a topic, but here, I need to know now. And you probably don't know yourselves, but there's that stigma with steroids that it makes your penis smaller.
Doesn't
Is
make
that
your
true?
penis smaller. It makes your testicles shrink into your body. It's
Okay.
nothing to do with the dong. It's
Not
the,
at all.
It's not the Frank. It's the beans.
Well,
Shout out to those guys in their podcast.
Let's
right?
get back to the titties. What were you talking about? Because you just brought that up of us being open about titties.
Oh, no. I was just really,
Enjoyed the comment.
I really did. And especially where you were like, yeah, I mean, my wife has perfect breasts. And like,
Yeah. And
He
I
even had the
explained.
cute
I
little
explained it. I
nipples,
said
too.
perfect nip. I'm sorry, babe.
was it like this where your fingers were up and you're
Like I was tuning an old '70s radio. You know those ones where the dial would go all the
nipples.
way across it.
yeah. That's exactly what was happening.
I don't know if you'll be there next episode. Dude.
Hey, my wife's making me quit the podcast.
Fridays at 6 is a no-go.
Yeah,
and
no,
no,
it's
not
like, hey.
anymore.
No, but it's tough. When you have a significant other and you're trying to put out content that you want, and we are, if we could make everybody laugh, that's our goal in our podcast, right? And we have to be honest with ourselves and honest with the people that are in our lives. And my wife takes a lot of guff, but it's all in fun and love, and I obviously commend her for it that she can take that
You're the true champ.
I can, but
Yeah.
it's part of the show.
I got my asshole ripped by the person I was seeing based off of Gray's comments. Because he made one where he was like, anyone who's disrespectful is a fucking punk. And he's like, you might be listening to your radio right now saying, fuck you. But yeah, fuck me, but fuck you too. And fucking this guy texts me, he's like, fuck Dre. And I was like, he literally just said that. It's like he knew.
Literally, when you say I got my asshole ripped, I'm like, whoa, we're going there. Then I didn't know it was an analogy. Then I'm
Hey.
like, oh, okay.
Hey,
I gotta
ring
get
for sex.
I gotta get my shit out. I gotta get my head out of the gutter. Oh, okay, now I get it.
This
What
is-
was that for?
This is Hard Talks. This is my ring for sex spell.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
I got to slide that into the disclaimer about
slide.
being wildly inappropriate because
Yeah.
I have a reoccurring guest come on every now and again. He's my good friend Forrest, who I've known since we were kids. But he's definitely that person that says all the fucked up shit just for shock value. Like we'll be in a grocery store and super loudly he'll be like, hey, Chandler stuck that in my butt last night. And you're like... And he's like stone cold, straight face, and it's like everyone around him's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you, bro?" Like, and so I have to put that in every now and again because I'm like, yeah, we are inappropriate, but it's all in fun and games,
I love it. It just shows the reals. Probably real's not the word, but like
It's authentic.
literally the other side of Utah, the other side of the non-LDS people. That's we're normal here. But how many times like I said, even me having friends from Mexico that I say, oh, I started a podcast with a friend of mine, but they know that I'm in Utah. So it's like, oh, so it's about you guys Mormons, you guys LDS, and we're like, no, we're actually the total opposite. Like, we're talking about man titties here.
Yeah.
So
and crooked penises.
But then, but then you go around. I mean, I don't know if anybody goes as hard in pain as we do. Yeah. But like when we go around, you guys will be probably like the closest, women version to what we are or who we are. Because you guys are just
so nice.
Well, because you guys are just like, you guys don't fuck around. You just say what it is. Exactly. Right? So you guys talk about whatever.
And the funny part is people talk like this. Everybody, more than you know, right? And so I think that's where a lot of people will resonate with a podcast, where people just no punches held, and we just talk about whatever. It's seriously a sit down and bullshit with your friend.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that's the biggest response that I've gotten from the show is a lot of people are like, I feel like I'm in the room with you. Or I've had a couple people be like, I feel like I know you and we're friends now. I've even been, because I'm a big festival concert lover, so like I've even been at shows where like people have come up to me and be like, are you that hippie from the podcast? Hard Talks with a Blonde and a Hippie? And I'm like, no. No, not really. No, I'm like, yeah, I'm Alicia.
Like,
nice to meet you. You want a sticker? Yeah, literally, that's like my go-to catchphrase. You want a sticker? Like, it's a trip. It's funny, when I first started this, I was telling my parents about it, and they're like, "Oh, that's a cute little hobby." I'm like, "Yeah, for now. Like, but watch. Like, give me a couple of years. Like, this is a slow burn." And I mean, just in the 10 months that we've been doing it,
for sure.
It's crazy.
Do your parents listen to your episodes?
Some of them. My grandma. My grandma listens.
Grandma's gangster, right?
Grandma's gangster.
Yeah.
Grandma's my biggest fan. But there was one episode where that friend that I was just talking about was on, and we were playing a card game called Extreme Personal Questions.
Yeah. Nice.
And this question came up, and it was like, have you ever like been into butt stuff? And he's like, no, never. And I was like, you're a liar. Like, anyone who says that they've never been into that or have tried it, they're a liar. Like, that's not a taboo thing. Let's normalize this. And he's like, what are you trying to tell me? I'm like, nothing. And I kind of like put myself in a corner there. And so we had this big spiel where everyone's like, oh, like you did it. My grandma texts me as soon as that dropped, and she's like, oh, Alicia, you make me laugh every day. I learn something new about you every day too. But I'd be lying if I said that you didn't make me blush from that episode. And I'm like, so from now on, I'm like, Grandma, don't cue out for this part. Like, don't listen to this part.
She's like, Grandma, you cannot be dancing around with the devil's onion ring. Stay away.
No.
Can you imagine your grandma's like, it hurts, doesn't it? It's like, oh, damn, Grandma, what are you talking about?
I had a woman at work, because I have some people, and I'm really like, keep that low key on work, because we talk about controversial stuff on here, and since I work for the government, I'm always kind of like
that's right,
on the fence about I don't want to incriminate myself in any way. But
you know about them aliens.
I know. Hey, can we talk about how we spent trillions of dollars and hid it for like 5 decades that extraterrestrials didn't exist, and now during quarantine the government released all this shit about how it is real and how we've been right, but then it's buried and nobody talks about that. Like, anyway, sorry. That's crazy to me. But this woman, she comes up to me and she's like, why didn't you tell me that you had a podcast?
Yeah.
And God bless you, Barb, if you're listening, you're awesome. But I'm like, she's like 2 weeks from retirement. And I'm like, oh, Barb, like, it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on you. And she's just like, I am offended. I served 25 years in the Air Force. I've heard it all. I'm like, all right, Barb, whatever.
You've been warned.
Weekend happens. Monday comes around. And at that point, I think we had 17 episodes out. She comes up and she's like, I finished all of them. And I was like,
damn.
You finished every single episode? And she's like, all 17. And she's like, I was in the car, in my garage, getting ready to like come in from the grocery store or whatever. And I sat there because I was stuck. I was just transfixed. She's like, I've been in that scenario. I was like, you gotta be more specific.
I've done butt stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be more specific. Which one? She's like, All of it. I love all of it. She's
Oh,
like, my
nice.
husband even came out and he was like, hey, you gonna make dinner? And she's like, not now. Not now. I was like, wow, Barb.
Right, not now. We're getting to rim jobs right now. Gotta stay here. There's macaroni and cheese in there, motherfucker.
No, not in there.
Pizza,
You gotta,
you lazy fuck.
not in there. It's supposed to sound like stirring macaroni in them. Haven't you heard WAP? Come on.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. We went down
yeah.
that road.
WAP's the shit.
Oh my gosh.
But no, but it's awesome. It's awesome the kind of people that you reach out. You know, same thing for us. Sometimes it's like going back to last episode. Like we probably one of the funnest episodes we've ever done,
Oh,
and we
it was
ended
funny.
up sweating and laughing. And then at the end, I was going home and like I started going to like people that I really like know personally that listen to this our podcast, and I'm like, damn, that's gonna be awkward. But
Yeah.
but that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to be a two-faced kind of guy, or you want to be like, hey, I'm the same person wherever I'm at?
Yeah.
So it's cool. I love it.
Well, and that's my biggest thing too is transparency, right?
Yeah.
You talked about how people really talk this way. Straight up. And if they don't, why can't we talk about it?
Right.
Like this.
Right.
Why can't, we're all fucking humans. We're all searching for the same thing, some type of validation, if you will, just to be seen, heard, loved, whatever. But it's like everyone has kind of the same mentality, right?
Right.
If we could just put out exactly what we're thinking, I think we'd live in a much less confusing place.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Because who likes to play the guessing game, especially in relationships? That's awful. And that's something that I've had to remind myself because I was single for 3 years before I met this person. I think that's why I might be so stuck on him. I had a little taste of companionship. I'm like, damn, it's going to be lonely on the other side. But I was just like, why am I not being like blunt with exactly like what's on my mind because I'm worried about how it's going to make him feel? No, fuck that. This is how I'm feeling, and you probably aren't even aware of it, so I just need to say it so we can get on the same fucking page.
Yeah.
And it's just like communication shouldn't be so hard. But I don't know. In this day and age with social media and everything, it's funny. Like, we're talking about how we've had such great connections meeting people through the pod, but I've also had some creepy ass motherfuckers reach out at the same
Don't
time.
get those?
Because we're not girls.
How come we don't
Yeah,
get those?
you don't have breasts or vaginas.
Well, I do, but
Gyno mess here, right?
So you have a gyno too. Yeah.
No, I'm-
yeah.
no, I don't think so. According to the OGs, they get like some messages.
Shut the fuck up.
That's what he says, dude.
Yeah, of course that's what he says.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know, but
Maybe you're
Yeah,
just too aggressive.
we don't
I don't know.
we don't get those.
Consider yourself lucky though, because this person DM'd me.
Dick pics?
No.
Oh.
No.
That sucks.
That'd be a whole nother story. That's what we would have started off with, okay? If that was the case.
Oh, you never got my message? Anyway,
No, but I'm like going through the messages and some emails like on our Hard Talks platform, and I had like 3 or 4 messages from the same person, and this is on Instagram. So I click on it, and at first he was like, love the podcast. Separate messages like, you guys are really funny. Separate message, I enjoy listening to you guys every weekend. I'm like, oh, cool. Like,
Yeah.
this guy really wants to get in touch or whatever. So I'm like,
yes, he does.
thanks for the support. Not that kind of touch. Nay.
Well, keep the story going. We'll be the judge of that.
We'll be the Dre on this part.
You might be blind to what's going on here.
So I'm just like, thanks for reaching out, man. I appreciate the support. And not even shitting you, the next message I get, he's like, when's the last time you had sex? And I'm kind of like, what? And he's like, do you like it raw or do you like it with a condom? And I'm like,
You're all raw dog, motherfucker.
what?
Yeah.
Well, that was my response. I was like, well, who likes condoms, for one? And 2, what kind of questions are these? And he's just like, oh, I'm just trying to get to know you. And that got me thinking, I was
His name
like,
Quinn.
yeah.
I'm just kidding, Quinn.
Shout outs to you, my guy. But it was just,
Some guy I've been minding.
I had to play there for a second. You know what I mean?
Just kidding.
Because I was like, this could get really interesting, right? After the raw comment, I was
Yeah.
like, what's this? what's this guy look like? Like, let's see here.
Oh.
Click on his profile. Hey, don't even. I click on his profile. He's a good-looking guy, but he hadn't posted anything since 2017, and he had like 25 friends and 5 mutual friends, like from my list or whatever, that are all girls that I knew from high school or whatever. And so immediately, like, I'm like, this motherfucker is like a catfish or something.
Yeah.
This is probably like an 80-year-old douche nozzle, like jerking off in dark room behind a computer screen, like nasty. So then I'm literally like sitting in my cubicle, and it's a slow day, and I'm like, let's make this interesting. I carry on a conversation for about 10 minutes. And then it got to the point where I straight up was like, hey, my guy, are you real? And he was kind of like, I'm offended that you're asking that. And I was like, well, I'm offended that you're like fucking me through the phone when we don't know each other.
God damn. Anybody else hard? Or is it just me?
What are you doing with your hands over there?
Above the table. No, so then I was just like, no, it just doesn't seem like you're real. And of course he didn't respond thereafter, but it's just kind of funny. That was my first interaction like that.
I wonder if he follows the Beehive.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, if he doesn't, hey, you should. Any platform.
Because truth be told, he'll get me. Next thing I know, I'm like, dude, how I ended up having a date with this guy?
I know. And I was literally like, probably don't message me anymore, though. Thanks, guy. I don't know. So when when you hear this segment, definitely go follow the other side of the Beehive.
Yeah. Sound like our kind of listener, right?
No, that's why you don't get those kinds of messages. Are you guys the guys sending those kinds of messages to other podcasters?
Well, so now that I think about it, I have 6 pictures on my Instagram. I haven't posted anything.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy.
Hey, double check that picture, will you?
I will. Is it Instagram verified? Is this real?
Yo, I was thinking that. How the fuck do you get verified?
You have to have hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Really?
Like the
Yeah.
check mark by your
Yeah.
picture?
let me answer you with another. With your interaction with IG, never, dude.
Sorry. No, I'm talking about the podcast.
Oh, what's this? It's just probably
Because I went down the rabbit hole and clicked on it. I was like, oh, we're getting verified.
I think
but
it's
they asked
50,000
for
followers.
a fucking photo ID.
Oh, really?
A picture of a photo ID to verify it's actually you. I'm like, well, how does that work with us? Because it's a podcast. It's not
And I don't
me.
have a social security number, so I don't know.
You
That's
don't even have a
good.
green card, bud.
Here you go. I have a right to be here. Don't question me.
Well, don't say it out loud. She works for the government. dude.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Hey,
Allegedly.
hey, I'm just a fucking contractor. God
funny.
damn it. No. Well, so I follow this chick. She has like 1.3 million followers on Instagram. It's obscene. But she also like lives on her stories.
Yeah.
It's like, I never understood like how influencers could do that. Like you'd have to have 2 separate phones or like a manager, right? Like there's no way you could answer all those messages and stuff.
That's your job.
Yeah.
That's your
I
job.
don't
Yeah.
because sometimes I wish who was like I was talking to the girl that does my dress because now she's starting her own social media for all her business and stuff and we were talking about this. I'm like, I wish I was more active, but it's just, to me, it's like I don't really want to. I mean, what do I do? Okay, let's just say if it's just put your content out there, then it's like, all right, well then I want to be driving and I just put myself like singing or whatever. But I was like, well, who the fuck wants to see that?
Me.
But then, but that's what I'm saying. But then if you think about it, you following that girl, when she does that, you see it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't stop
funny.
you from following.
It's funny that's the exact example that you use because I am that bitch
Yeah.
that's always singing in my car on Snapchat. But it's gotten to a point now where like we've branched out. We have a TikTok. We are on Patreon now. Like I was saying, I'm trying to expand our reach a little bit.
You hear people in the back. Hey, watch what you're driving, lady. She's all,
I can't. I am terrible. That is a terrible thing to do. I'm the
She's
first
all-
one to admit it. But I am self-aware, so
there you go.
not that makes a difference. But what was I saying?
Well, I was saying this. The example. It doesn't stop you from
Watching this individual.
watching.
Yeah.
Right. So like where like if I post something that has a little bit of a response, like from my Snapchat stories, people are like, oh, you're funny. Oh, like this made me laugh or whatever. I'll usually like save it and just slide it into our TikTok. Because TikTok is killing it right now. Like I kind of fucking hate it.
You guys have one?
Yeah. I kind of fucking hate it, but at the same time, I'm very much guilty staying up way too late because it's like one video after another. And it's like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I just wasted 2 minutes of my life. And then you're on to the next video. It's
Yeah, my brother loves it, dude. Like every day, like I have breakfast with my mom every weekend, and he sits by me, and he like doesn't even talk to me that much, but then he goes, "Look at this," and I was like, and then we're like little girls just giggling about, "Oh, that's funny," and then I go to work, and there's like adult people that are like, "Oh, dude, you gotta see." I'm like, "Are you on TikTok?" And he goes, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "Wow."
People make so much money off of TikTok now. It's crazy. So I have a friend, not super cultured, and we were taking a drive.
So he's white, huh?
Yeah, definitely. White, short, little skinny guy. That's true story. He is.
Good guess.
It's like big old swastika tattoo on the back. But anyway,
Not a skinhead. That's not what I said. But we get in the car, and I have this playlist of music on my phone that has like over 4,000 songs on it. It has literally everything.
Yeah.
Jazz, country, EDM, rap.
yeah, Backstreet Boys.
I do have Backstreet Boys. I have some major throwbacks, a lot of one-hit wonders, a lot of hair bands. That's what I grew up off of. My dad's a drummer. But a Fleetwood Mac song comes on, and he's like, oh, this is from the TikTok video. And I literally wanted to take my drink and like smash it into his face. I was like, no, this is fucking Fleetwood Mac. Get the fuck out of my car.
The one with the Jews.
Yeah, the one with the Snapple. Yeah.
So have you, you know who Billy is? Dre's cousin.
No.
So he's what do you call it? A jumper? That sounds like
He's like a base jumper,
Yeah, base
skydiver.
Jump,
yeah.
jump,
He's a base.
jump.
He's a base jumper.
Oh, okay.
And he redid that with the Fleetwood Mac music, and he was in the air and he's drinking his juice. That was pretty cool.
That's great.
Huh.
Well, what was cool about that is he was a homeless man, and then like I
What,
guess
Dog? What was that his name?
I don't
Dog?
think he was
I don't-
homeless, was he?
I don't think it was homeless.
I thought he was. Everything you read on the internet.
He's not anymore.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
That's where I was going
Yeah.
with it. Like I just heard that.
He's still homeless. He just has a lot of ocean spray now. That's it.
Hey, they bought him a van to live in,
Dude,
so he's kosher.
came out. He
You know,
came
I'll
out
tell
on,
you this.
on one of the podcasts that we listened to. Remember?
You can take ocean spray and you can make good wine out of ocean spray. So.
Oh, there you go.
You ferment it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
How do you do that?
Just put some yeast in there, let it sit on the shelf for a little bit, put a balloon on it.
We should do our video about that then. But it's all like slow.
I imagine that being ew,
Shit.
either really good or really potent.
What wine is good though?
Hey, that's a trick question.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a trick question.
Come on, dude. The one that I drink.
It's all sugar shit though.
That's true.
Sugary
You
ones.
drink a blush wine?
No.
I like deep red wines. Like I like your bitter, I hate myself kinds of wines. You know, other people will drink it and be like, "This is the worst thing I've ever had." I'm like, I think it's good. But
You
the
should come
issue,
drink that bottle of wine I have in the studio. I haven't touched it in forever. I was like, ugh.
well, let's make that recording happen, and I'll be happy to oblige.
for sure. For sure.
But wine is the worst in the sense that that's the only alcohol that gives me like spins if I drink too much.
Yeah.
That's the worst. You just want it to end. I actually, on yesterday's episode I just dropped, I had someone email in and be like, you should share like someone I know.
So you
personally.
should stop drinking when you're recording.
You should start OnlyFans.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that before too. With your feet. Nobody knows who you are if it's just your feet. No. But, you have one?
No. Little inside joke right there.
Okay. I was just a little bit of a shit show, and I got too drunk on the beach in Cancun, and that's exactly what happened. I was spinning on the beach, and it was one of those moments where it just needed to end. And
Shout out to Cancun, dude.
yeah, no
It's
kidding.
close to my hometown.
Yeah, where's your hometown?
From Merida, Yucatan. From the
Okay.
Yucatan Peninsula, where all the Mayan ruins are.
Oh, that's dope. So, how long have you been in Utah? What brought you here?
Well, my mom married somebody from here. But it was
You should We ran and we swam.
Well, but
And climbed.
It was 20 years ago, actually. Yeah, 20 years ago.
What about you? You've lived in Utah your whole life, Justin?
I was people that know Utah. I grew up in a little town called Syracuse.
Oh, God.
We're in Ogden right now, for God's sakes, and you just
like,
rolled your eyes at me?
Fuck out of my house.
I graduated from Syracuse High.
See, I went to Clearfield High.
I've been pulled over enough times in Syracuse that it's not my friend.
Syracuse High was not around.
Pulled over?
Pulled over.
Is that what you said?
Do you know how bored the policemen are in Syracuse? They don't have anything better to do. They will literally fucking... Yeah. Anyway. We could snowball from there, but...
No, but I've been here for 20 years, and then I started meeting people here that asked me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Yucatan. And they're like, holy shit, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, but it's like, I always say this on the pod. It's like, when you live with that kind of stuff, it's like, you don't really care for it. Like all the Mayan ruins and shit, like you get like field trips from school. They take you there once a year, and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Now that I'm here, it's like, I want to take all my friends there.
Yeah.
And so,
well, it's also like you become desensitized to it.
Yeah.
I went to Italy when I was 18. I did like this foreign exchange program. And a brother and sister came out and stayed with me for 3 weeks. And then I went back to Rome with them for 3 weeks. And I remember them taking me to all the hot spots, as well as like some local ones. Like I got to stay in their little village called Rocca di Mezzo, which was beautiful. But I'm walking through the Colosseum. I'm tripping out about the rock I'm standing on. I'm like, imagine how many people have walked over this. They're like, what it's seen. They're like, it's a rock. And I'm like, what about this pillar? And they're like, it's a pillar. And I'm like,
I know.
I was like, this is amazing. And they're like, we've literally seen this our whole lives. Like this is, but when they come here and they see our mountains, is the same effect. Like it's just something we take for granted.
Wasn't it trippy though when it was all smoky? There was no mountains. You're like, Jesus Christ, where am I?
Being back in Minnesota.
Oh, is that where you're from?
Yeah, when I drink too much, it definitely comes out.
Minnesota, eh?
Minnesota. Hey, they don't say
Jose.
A as much as you think.
Yes, they do. Because everybody I've met from Minnesota says A, and they say Hosehead and Hoser.
Jose?
Let's get some more beer, eh?
I definitely heard I'm just trying to talk them up, okay?
Yeah.
When I'm mad too, like I've had people be like, "Oh, really? Are you gonna go call your mom? You gonna go get your bag?"
You man.
Like, yeah, you can go to the mall. Like,
let's go get a 2 liter of soda, eh?
hey,
Sodies. Remember Sodies?
Yeah, that chick with the big fucking oblongata fucking forehead. Do you remember those
seen
chicks?
that show? My 600 pound?
No, I don't think that was it. It was that what it is? The two sisters that were like, what was it? You remember? What was that show called?
My 1,000-pound life.
oh,
1,000-pound sisters or some shit like
that.
that.
Sisters,
They're
yeah.
both like 600 pounds.
Yeah.
It's on
and,
TLC,
and
right?
one of
Yeah.
obviously.
But they used to call.
It's not gonna be on Peacock.
They used to call them
Spike.
sody. Let's go get a sody.
Yeah, let's go get a soda. He goes, how many sodas you drink? Oh, I don't know, like 6 or
She's all
7
6
or
or
8.
7.
She's like, what the fuck?
But they're Diet Coke.
Diet Coke, so I'm good.
So it's okay.
I think that's worse, isn't it? Diets are worse than the regular.
I don't know. My wife got me used to Diet Coke. So I don't drink soda that much, but when I do, it's got to be Diet Coke. That sounds like a commercial.
And I mean no disrespect by this, but do you think
Well,
like
fuck you
when
guys.
when they sign like contracts like for shows like that on TLC, do you think like they have to maintain that weight to maintain that title?
Yeah.
Probably.
You know, like what if they got healthy and lost a lot of weight? Like would they still have that contract with that show if they were no longer the 1,000-pound sisters?
Probably not.
Yeah. There's an actress.
All entertainment value, right?
Yeah, there's an
I
actress.
think one of them came out on...
Queer?
No. I seen came out on another show or maybe another. I think the shop talk about it again, and she's lost a lot of weight. I mean, she was still a big and rich one, but it's just she
a big
lost
and rich
a lot of
one.
weight.
Oh.
Well, there's I think Jenny McCarthy. I think she was on that sitcom.
Shout out to Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, no, not Jenny McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy?
Melissa McCarthy, because she was on that sitcom and she
They're
started.
cousins.
No, I didn't.
They're cousins.
No way. Really?
Hey, did you know? Have you seen The Sandlot?
Yeah.
way back when.
Yeah.
L7 Weenie. My third cousin is Chauncey Leopardi, the guy that plays Squints.
Squints?
Yeah. He's a funny guy. Anyway.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, if you've never seen The Sandlot,
You
you
have to watch The
guys.
Sandlot. It's actually
Don't-
Actually, I've seen it. Hold on. Is that the kids playing
baseball
Baseball.
and it
with
goes
the
to
dog.
the ball with the dog? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it, but it's like
You know, it was,
back in the
it was
63
filmed here.
maybe. Huh?
It's filmed here. In
Oh, was it?
Utah.
Yeah.
So it's like a legend. It's a cult classic in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
See, I've only seen
definitely.
Footloose.
Oh, fuck.
Just kidding.
Fucking Footloose.
Great movie. Great movie.
Dude, I went to Becca's house the other day and I drove through that. What is it?
The Lehigh Mill.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
was
that's
like,
still there.
okay, yeah.
With that dance scene. Never, never, never.
Yeah.
Kevin
Hey.
Bacon in his prime.
What's are you planning on having other podcasts here? We'll tell you everything about him.
Well, Mariah is going to be on tonight. But as far as right now, like my schedule has been kind of open.
So my vision board is like,
Yeah.
it's not that visible.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just, it's a mess right now. But I mean, have you met Mariah?
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
him. We had her on. Back when we met him, there was two of them doing the
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yeah.
And he went down to one. So, but she was at the thing we did at the bar.
Okay.
So she was cool. Yeah.
Cool. She's nice. She seems really
Yeah.
nice. She's funny as hell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
she's-
excited. I'm excited to meet her. But
She's a legit health coach. Like she's like to the point where your insurance would cover her.
oh wow,
Like, I mean, yeah.
that is cool.
Well, when what's her name comes back, yeah. See,
Hey.
see how I did that?
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking
Sarah. Sarah.
I knew what it was, but I had to be that way.
Who's Sarah? Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
The other chick.
Yeah, something
That
like
Alicia
that.
girl?
What was that Prego one?
Yeah, we know the one, obviously, just like the other side of the beehive.
I think the red haired one.
The
yeah.
real white one. Yeah, fuck that one, right? When she's back,
Yeah.
you guys will have to come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let you
That'd be
know when
fun.
she does. I'm.
Although she might be pumping milk, what
That would be great content.
Yeah.
She'd be breastfeeding
Yeah.
while we're there.
I'll take a cup.
Just coffee's off.
That's how dirty I am. Yeah.
You both are fathers, right?
No,
Nope.
I'm not.
You are.
I am.
Yeah. How many kids you have?
I have two daughters. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Awesome. Let me ask you this, since all the respect, since she has perfect breasts, when she was breastfeeding,
Prove it. Just kidding.
did you ever try breast milk?
Ask her that.
Did he ever try your breast milk?
Never.
No?
Never would.
No?
No.
One of my best friend's wives said, "Can I have some?" I asked my friend, "Can I have some?" She's like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as you don't take it from the tab." And so she went and put it on a glass and gave it to me. I'm like, nice.
I hear it's not bad.
But you never had it?
Well, I never tried my own, which sounds odd. I
I don't like milk anyway.
This is not like milk.
It is the milk. Are you
Like,
shitting me?
they're-
Coming out of a
they're-
Mother milk.
That's the best milk. It's booby milk. Like, what's better than that?
How do you try your own?
I think you have to squirt it into a cup.
No. How don't you? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I guess I have. Like, I've tested if a bottle is too hot or not, but I guess I'd never really considered the flavor. I don't know.
Well, here's
It's
something.
kinda bland.
Here's something. No, here's something I would change. If I ever get another one, I'll put it in the fridge.
It's really
it down?
good for
Yeah.
you.
Cool it down.
It's really good for you. Like, there's so many like nutrients and stuff in there. Like, they say that like this guy I've been talking to, he has like a bunch of nerve damage in his shoulder, and they're like, "Do you know anyone that's like?"
Did you see how she explained that?
Breastfeeding?
This guy that I was talking about, like she did the movement before she goes. He has problems with his shoulders.
Scott, what's that Lou Gehrig's disease or what's that
Yeah.
fucking pitching disease? Like,
And next time I was talking to this person, she's a porn star.
My part-time lover.
you've got to have video.
Hell
I
yeah!
got okay. So
Look, it's right there.
thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so I bought
Oh, no,
this.
it's right there.
I bought this camera. I have two now. I am the least tech savvy person in the world.
Oh, you're talking.
Fuck you talking to?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Where you said Junior was literally starting off from like nothing, that was me. Like,
That was us.
Yeah,
I
but
went,
how do you think we did it?
yeah, I'm but it's crazy. Like looking back, and I even joke about that with our listeners, being like, if you made it to this point and you made it past like the first 12 episodes, God bless you, because
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah, we say
quality
that all
is
the time.
shit. Like,
Yeah.
and it sounded really, grainy.
That's how we were.
We didn't have a road for our first.
We were we were recording straight to. I'm sorry, we were recording straight to our computer too.
Yeah.
And I did everything on GarageBand.
I still do.
Yeah,
Like,
I still do to when it comes to putting the music, the intro and the outro. I still do.
yeah. I mean, like it's, and some people, other podcasters on, because I had this other local couple on from Hopelessly Unromantic. They're funny. If you guys have never given.
What are they called?
Hopelessly Unromantic.
Okay.
They're relatively new. I think they're on like their 25th episode, but they're funny as hell. But he has the same equipment that we do, and he came in, and when he sat down to record, he's like, oh, like, let me show you all this stuff. Like, you can do this, this, and that. And he's like, what kind of software are you editing on? And I was like, just GarageBand. Like, I literally take out my SD card, import the MP3 file folder, cut it, edit, do it all from there. And he's like, really?
See, we were recording. See, we were recording straight to GarageBand.
Yeah, before I got onto this, that's exactly how we were doing it too. And it was easy in the sense that at least you had like your 4 different inputs. It'd be easy to like cut a segment out of one person's shit. Whereas like I have multi-track on the road now, and it is broken up into different tracks, but it's hard to distinguish.
Right.
There's so many. It's like
I'm lucky enough that Brian was our producer.
So we have a producer.
Was interested in doing it, and now at this point, like he starts telling me, well, I gotta do this card, and then I gotta do over here, and I just go, like at this point, like, dude, if you weren't here, I have no idea. I mean, obviously we will go down to 0 again because he took it to the next level. Yeah,
that's nice. So, how long has he been the producer for you guys?
It was his first episode was the first time Kay was with us.
So 40 something episodes, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was the piece that the podcast missed, because we would shoot the shit and we would say, I wonder if la 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 la.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now we have Brian, we have the screen, he pulls it right up. I mean, there was a lot of bullshit like, oh yeah, it's this way, bro science was what our podcast was about. And now it's, he looks it up and we verify it, and then we go on to another tangent, and it's just
that's nice. It's kind of like Joe Rogan setup. Like if he has a question, it's immediately like there for him.
Yeah.
Goals.
Do you ever listen to The Fighter and the Kid? That is what you hate to say, that you've based your podcast on a podcast, but
I don't think there's anything
that
wrong
was
with
that was our
biggest influence.
That was our biggest influence, was The Fighter and the Kid, a comedian and like a jock, a guy that used to fight in the UFC, played a little bit in the NFL, and then Brian Callen. Brian Callen was in like Mad TV or whatever, and they were like early podcasts. I think they just had episode.
They're 700.
Yeah, they're like the 700.
And that's just the famous ones because they started way before.
But they were part of Joe Rogan's crew. But the deal that they had was 2 guys bullshitting, and they had a producer, and it was just shooting the shit and looking things up and laughing about this. But that was probably our biggest influence over podcasting. Great. I can't highly recommend The Fighter and the Kid enough.
Okay.
So,
even our studio is kind of like a mock of what they had.
The sign, the two chairs. It's kind of a copycat or whatever. But we just loved it. We were driven by what they do.
That's awesome. I think I wouldn't say that it was based off of it, but I took a lot of pointers and like things that were implemented in. You're going to laugh at me. Small Town Murder. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. It is a true crime podcast, but they're just comedians like bullshitting back and forth about the stupidity that happens in small towns, like between bumbling police forces and like never at the victim's expense, but like the murders or whatever. Right. And in every episode, they have a disclaimer like, hey, like we're crude and we want you to know we are like stand-up comedians. Like this isn't to make fun of the victims, but like if you don't like us, basically you don't have to listen.
Right.
And I always loved that. I was like, I like the disclaimer. So I got that idea from them, and I've credited them many times before because they're just killing it. So funny to me if you like true crime. But I mean that niche is so oversaturated right now. It was like when I started, I was like, I don't want to do a true crime
following.
And I was also like, I don't have the time to do all that research. You know what I mean? And at this point in time, I'm like, I'd love to hire a producer, but I'm just not there yet because I can't afford them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get it wrong. We don't pay Brian.
Oh, you don't? Well, I mean, that's
God, no.
what a
He just
awesome
happens-
friend, though.
He's one of my best friends.
That's amazing.
He just
offered
happens
it-
to be as lonely as we are.
He
so-
offered it. He offered it forever, and I'm like, I don't know, like because to me he can do so much, and like we ask him to do so little that it's like I don't know. And then he's like, dude, I'll do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's so
And
nice.
then all of a sudden he's like he started buying stuff for maybe we need this, we need that, and so again, he just took it to the next level.
Well, if there's another Brian out in the world, come see me.
Why don't you hire Dre?
I think
I
Dre
need
needs another
some-
job.
Yeah,
Why
you
don't
can
you?
hire Dre.
I can't afford Dre.
He
Well,
won't charge you.
yeah.
Yeah.
He might.
Just give him that. Give him his subscription to Patreon for free, and there you go. You got
Yeah.
it.
Hey. Maybe I could like run that by him as like either free subscription to Patreon or I pay you $20
Well,
a month.
I got a couple questions when it comes to Patreon. Do you can put so Patreon is not related to YouTube, right?
No, and so Patreon is a
like you-
completely separate entity.
Okay, but you can put whatever you want in there.
Anything you want. Anything you want. It could, yeah. It's kind of a gray area when it comes to like really bad shit because anyone could say anything. Like, I think Patreon spiked a lot during the inauguration because a lot of radicals would jump on and like spew whatever out. You know, it was whatever. But
Because this is
it's
something.
not regulated.
Yeah, because this is something that we talked about before. Because we follow this podcast of two comedians that they do that. I think they do it like 4 times a year. So they actually like work on, okay, this is going to be on the next one. What are we going to put? And like they have like porn stars come down and like they do drugs and like, but it's all just for the content of the episode. And obviously people pay just to see them get fucked up and just make fun of each other.
Well, and it's like some of your most like crass or inappropriate shit out there. Like Sarah is addicted to porn novels, erotica novels.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her, right? So for our first Patreon episode, I did drop a little teaser on Spotify, but she picked out like 3 of the most raunchy passages she could find. And she read them to me, and I'm literally in the background just like making all the commentary and like making all the sound effects because holy cow. We got a huge response, like, and that was kind of my mindset behind it. It was like, I don't want my grandma to hear every single one of these, so I'm gonna put it on Patreon. And for those who really want to listen to it, you know, it's worth the money. And Dre is the one that kind of planted that seed for me. He's like, you want to get into like your personal sex stories? That's great. That's great content. Sex sells. But it's like, you really want to get in the nitty gritty, put that shit on Patreon.
God
because
damn it, we
people
missed our
will
window.
pay. And I was like, that's brilliant. And people do.
But it's
crazy.
different for 2 guys.
Maybe not. Just start filming shirtless.
We
Do
say
this.
that shit on our podcast.
Just
though.
rub
That's
your
what I'm saying,
nipples
though.
the
But I don't
whole
wanna-
time you're filming.
I don't want to cut that from our podcast to put it on Patreon for 2 guys to pay $5 a month.
But that's what I'm saying. But I think it depends of what you like. If you plan it out, with like, dude, we're gonna have this person and we're gonna try this, and we're gonna like all those videos that we want to do. Like if we put them on Patreon, I think people will pay to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, and you're
But
probably
it's just
right.
something that you have to be consistent on. You
Absolutely.
Can't
And I will tell you this, it's been a learning curve. And I'm going to go back to like how I bite off a little more than I can chew it sometimes, because I really wanted to jump on that. I was like, you know, we're still so new. I want to get up on there earlier rather than later. But I recommend that you guys get on there for sure.
I
Like,
think we should.
Why
We're
not?
The first guys that did it, dude.
Hey, just test the waters. You know what I mean?
Come
Can't
on,
hurt.
naked. Who cares?
Okay.
And 2,
Show our man titties.
because like I touched on the bonus stuff, like every time I release, like ultimately I only have to record 1 25-minute bonus episode a month, and then like hers, like I was saying, but then everything else that's posted there throughout the month is the same shit that I'm posting everywhere else. It's just being posted earlier. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like the list. It seems really overwhelming at first, but like once you get into the hang of it, it's
Does Patreon take a piece of the pie?
Yeah. So like, I don't know what percentage, but like, for example, like my first patron signed up for a $20 membership. And so it was at the very end of the month. So it just counted that one person, you know what I mean? And I got like my invoice or my statement or whatever. And out of the $20, we made $18. So, I mean, they take $2, which I don't know if like the more patrons you have on, like the more money they start to take, like royalties. But I don't know. It's just something I'm going to have to figure out as I go along.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it.
Definitely. Well, guys, I really appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks for
coming
having
down
us.
and talking to me. Tell the people really quick where they can find Dre Espanol and everything else that you guys are on.
You can find...
Yeah, because I'm not on there. So
Yeah, I know you're...
No, I just didn't
Sorry, Justin. I'm just...
who wanted to talk first.
She's all, don't worry about this motherfucker right here. We don't even know his name still.
Hey, we're past that.
He's our Sarah.
He's our Sarah.
No, you can find... I do this segment on the radio with Dre. It's on the radio, but it's on the radio's website on U92 app, and also you can find that at allrock.com on his YouTube. But it's a segment that we do when I try to teach him to speak Spanish. Why do I always have problems saying that?
I don't know. He should try and teach you how to speak English.
No, I try to teach him to speak Spanish.
Do that on one of those. That'd be great.
Did you see the last one, the 100?
Not the most recent one, no.
We had to hit our 100 one, and he ate a hot ass pepper.
Oh. I'm going to go watch it.
We both did, but yeah, we should.
I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah.
And they're small little segments. How long are each of them?
They're usually about from 3 to 5 minutes.
They're not long, so it's definitely something you can
yeah, for sure.
beam through. They're funny.
And then the podcast.
And then what's your handle on Instagram and stuff?
I don't fucking know.
Other side of the Beehive.
The podcast itself. Oh, okay. So the other side of the Beehive, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the major platforms. We have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Every episode we have video. Obviously, if you don't watch the video, you can listen to the audio.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you find podcasts.
I highly recommend watching the video. So
Thank you.
Hey, and in upcoming episodes, you never know. Justin might take off his shirt and be rubbing his
Hell
nipples.
yeah.
So
Maybe.
watch out.
Patreon.
Maybe you could use your feet.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
Probably not.
What?
OnlyFans. More. You have nice feet. Is that what you're telling me? Oh. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook, you can do so at Hard Talks with B&H. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Hard Talks with B1. If you want to email into the show to suggest conversation topics or just share some perspective, you can email in at hardtalkswithbnh@gmail.com. But until next week, fam, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, be wise, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And you guys, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You got to come down to us now.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll be drinking your wine.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Hard talk, Doctor.
Yeah.